Welcome to Wizards of the Tower,
Roleplay.
where we talk everything role-playing. In this episode, we're going to be talking about DM screens, either hiding yourself behind them or not.
Yep.
Welcome to Wizards of the Tower,
Roleplay.
where we talk everything role-playing games. And you can see we've got a wall in front of us, separating us from you.
Yeah, it's looks like a castle wall, with a tower and some battlements and other things. But it's not really a castle wall. It's really a DM screen.
Yes, this was a DM screen by Fat Dragon Games, which is a 3D print. I did a Kickstarter for files, and this was one of the add-ons or free things that they gave you if it got to a certain point. And it's totally modular. You can build it how you want.
Yeah, it's really, really, really cool. I've always loved this idea of creating, because you want to have a DM screen anyway, and we'll talk about why. But I love this idea that...
Or why not?
Or why not? I always love this idea of having a DM screen that's a castle wall, and stuff like that, because it lends an ambiance to the game.
Mm-hmm. Now, if you remember the last episode we had, the Wizards Library,
Yeah.
we actually kind of showed a little bit of this.
Yep.
And kind of the backside of it, where there's spots for you to put your minis, there's spots for your pens, there's spots for dice, there's spots for clips. So these are little clips that I printed, little kind of U-shape, which has a little slot here to where you can put these things in. This is your tracker, or you can use it to put clips on for your actual DM information that you might have.
Yeah, note cards would go really well right here. Now we use it for initiative tracker to see who goes first, whether we have monsters going first or these different heroes. Typically it's kind of like left to right, heroes, 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 monster, monster, heroes again, that sort of thing. And so it's a good way for the DM to try to keep in mind about, okay, so instead of having to just write all this down on a scratch pad, you can take your little tabs from your characters, and these are dry erase tabs. You can see we sort of dry erased them with the names of the characters on there. And then you just put them in order here with these little tabs that kind of reach in there. It's pretty neat in a way.
Yeah.
It's a great way to organize.
Now, the ones that have the little extra right here, I took my Pathfinder screen that I had in PDF and I printed out the ones that I wanted, and then I laminated them, so when I want to stick them up there, I can just use a little clip.
Oh yeah.
And stick it on the back end of it, and I can have them on whatever order I want.
Yeah, you got some dice real quick?
I don't...
Yeah, right here.
Nice.
Any kind of dice.
So we kind of showed the dice tower rolling, so...
Yeah, so we have a dice tower here too. And it rolls out into a little basin, and we'll have some film of this so everybody can see, which is kind of cool. But the DM can roll, and no one else can see, so they can do secret rolls, which is kind of nice, when you want to fudge stuff when your heroes are all dying, and it's, and you're like, oh, they can't die here, they've got to take on the dragon yet. They're all dying, they're dying because of all these crappy rolls, and these townies...
My great rolls.
Yeah, and my rolls are great, and these townies are killing them. Oh, what do? I'll just fudge a few rolls and get them out of town.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
As I mentioned, this is modular, so if I wanted, I could have actually put another tower right here with a roller to the other side. But, when you have a table that everyone's sitting around, it's hard for everybody to reach it.
I could see if you had like an oval table, okay? DM right here, and then you had player 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Easily reachable.
It was easily reachable, and then you could roll down, and you could roll through the tower, and everybody could see what was what.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, but our table is rectangular and long and skinny.
Which
so it's kind of hard.
Yeah, which you
it's
saw.
kind of hard, so.
Now, put these, I'll clip these back real quick. DM screens have been around as long as we've been gaming
Yeah,
RPGs.
yeah.
And I actually have my first edition one right here. Now this is old. This has been taped together because it's falling apart. And you can see how many panels this thing is.
So check
That's
out
4
the
panels
demon
right there.
Check out the demon right there, and then check out our demon right here. Pretty cool.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
there's more panels. So
Yeah.
this is how long this thing was.
Yeah, and there's tons of information back here. Attack matrix for fighters, paladins, and rangers. Attack matrix for thieves and assassins. Psionic and other combat tables. Advanced D&D Dungeon Master screens.
Yeah.
Defenders psionic strength trials.
Saving
there's
throws.
saving. So there's a lot of information back here on these.
Yeah, this actually went down here on this end, but
Yeah.
you can see how long or how big this thing is.
Yeah. Whoops,
And you can
careful,
see
grab that
it's old. I
Yeah.
got this in 1979.
Yeah. So, you had the idea of the DM screen is that you create like a little boundary between the DM, the judge, the referee, the game master, dungeon master, whatever you want to call them. And some people call them referees. Some people call them
Game Masters, the
game
generic term for
masters.
it.
You know, there's all kind of different names. And the idea is that you create just a little bit of boundary so that separates the players from the GM, the DM. And then what happens is the DM is the adjudicator, the judge of what happens and goes on in the game. It's kind of like the leader points the players in the direction.
Director.
The players get together on one side and come up with their own strategies. The DM is separated from them with a DM screen so that the
He's
DM
got his
has
notes
yeah,
there, his minis laid out. The players can't see, so he just grabs his mini and he pops out, and
well, he or she,
he or she,
yeah, could be, or they.
And then of course, other information that they might have. Now, here's another screen. This
This
is
is a little newer.
This is from Pathfinder
It's a Pathfinder one.
First
Yeah.
Edition.
Yeah.
So you can see it's not as big.
It's not as big, it's simplified. Now there's still, common conditions: blinded, grappled, nauseated, pinned,
Yeah.
common object hardness and hit points, rope, simple wooden door, chest,
Skill checks,
substance hits,
yes,
concentration
combat
checks.
skills, combat, and miscellaneous.
Yeah,
So,
it's really cool.
Skills, combat, miscellaneous.
Pathfinder 1 boiled a lot of stuff down to easier stuff. Like there's no psionic abilities in there,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. And so those of us who played Pathfinder were really kind of grateful of the fact that they'd boiled a lot of that back down to make it easier to play, and they didn't have so much bloat. And I think the Pathfinder screen reflects that.
Well,
It truly reflects that.
I would say Pathfinder actually has more bloat than some of the other stuff. It's just organized differently.
It is organized differently so that it
it's a
doesn't
little more
seem
complex
like it's
than
bloat.
say 5e.
Okay, so in my opinion, like PF1, the rule book is still comprehensible. It's big and thick,
Yeah.
but it's still comprehensible. You could still find stuff in it. We've got a couple of them all beat up that we're paging through constantly.
We've had since original.
We've had it
release.
since we started playing, which is like 10 years ago or longer. Not 12 years ago, 13 years ago.
Yeah, I think we started playing Pathfinder First Edition in 2007.
Yeah, I mean, it's
2008.
been quite a while.
Yeah.
So the thing is, I still like the original PF1 book, and it reflects the simplicity of that screen. Now PF2,
Don't have a screen yet. I
no,
plan on getting a screen, but it'll end up being a revised because I don't think I can get a.
yeah, I bet it's going to be a little more complex
It
because
may
of the way
not.
things.
It may
they
not,
are.
but probably ought to pick one up for other DM. But
Yeah.
he uses this screen, and but anyway, why are we talking about DM screens? Well, first of all, most games have them, not
Yeah.
just Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder.
Yeah,
Most games have them. I think there's one for Morkborg. When Pirate Borg releases their new Kickstarter, I think there's one for that as well.
right.
There's one Starfinder. Most games have them, or you can make them. Or you
Yeah.
can get a generic one that I've seen a lot of people have that are wooden panels and then they put stuff in. One that's really cool that I thought was really cool that somebody made was they took a tablet and they mounted it in there so they had their information, or they could have the information on the backside and have things playing for their players to see.
Yeah, a screen.
Yeah.
I mean, as Electronic Revolution, there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
People are like, well, I like old school. I like to page through my notebook. And it's like, look, things change. You can have it one way or you can have it the other.
Yeah.
I like the idea of having an electronic screen that may show you a map or characters as they come up, or figures and things like that. And there's nothing wrong with that. It just depends on how you want to work it,
Or advanced you want it to be.
or how advanced you want it to be with your
Yeah.
technology.
Now, we kind of hit a little bit upon why you would want to use them. Well, of course, separating yourself from your other players, hiding your information from the players,
Yeah.
your module, your adventures, all your writing, your dice rolls, the monster minis that you may be using or
Yeah.
may not be using,
Yeah.
other information that you might have.
Yeah, the thing is there should be a separation of information between players and DMs. DMs are the guide. They guide players through the game, okay, along the path, through the adventure, with different checks and skill ratings and everything like that. And so for them to sit in a group with you in a huddle, it sort of like puts them on the same area, or in the same area as the players, and the DM is not a player. The DM is essentially the guide, okay?
Yeah.
So that's why there's a screen to separate them.
Yeah, hiding the rolls, as I mentioned.
Yeah.
So you're a thief, and you want to check for traps. Well, the DM rolls the dice and tells you if you succeeded or didn't succeed, or yes or no, just simple as that. So let's say you're a thief, and you want to check for traps. Well, the GM rolls the dice and says yes or no, or describes what you found.
Yeah.
And you don't know what they rolled.
Yeah.
Or you want to pick pockets, whether you succeed or not. Now, some DMs let the players do that. I have done that. So we'll kind of get into that in another episode.
Right.
About, hiding, whether the GM should roll those dice or not. I'm kind of a believer in that. Now, I've had players in the past that got mad when I did that, hid the rolls from them, thinking, well, how do I know you're not cheating on me? Paranoia.
That's the chance you take when you've got a DM. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And that's, you're going to have that when you
Yeah.
have a DM screen,
Exactly.
hiding the rolls.
Yeah.
I kind of like that idea of hiding, keeping the rolls hidden. The players should know. There should be an air of mystery.
Yes.
And that's kind of what your DM screen or DM wall.
Yeah.
Now this is actually called the DM screen of doom. Like I said, it's from Fat Dragon. You can get it on fatdragongames.com or DriveThruRPG. Other things that you use is info for running the game, whether it's a skill check or damage things or saving throws. Some of them just basic diplomacy, whether somebody succeeds and what they
Sure.
base information that they might have of what they
Yeah.
need. Whether they roll a 5 or 10 or 15 or 20 or 25 over what they need.
Yeah.
So that's what you would have back here. So that's really good information to have.
It's an easy, fast reference so that the DM doesn't have to keep paging through books
Right.
and slowing down gameplay, so that you can stay on track, keep a pace going. And someone says, "What's the hardness for a door?" Because I'm going to attack with my axe. You can go and look and say, "Okay, door, it's this. All right, you need to get this to break it."
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
You got to do this much damage to it.
So in that sense, it provides a lot of easy access information for the DM. Okay. Now, why not use one? Well, there's been a lot of movements now to make gaming egalitarian, meaning that everyone is on the same level and you don't really have so much of a DM, but it's all a choose your own adventure kind of thing, where you just kind of draw some cards and everybody kind of follows along in that sense, thing like that. I'm not going to criticize that situation, but the one thing that has always attracted me to role-playing game is the mystery. The idea, the stories, everything that's kind of held back by the DM that slowly unfolds as you read it. I love reading mystery stories. I love reading mysteries, especially whodunits and stuff. And that's how the stories unfold. Slowly, bits of information are given to you. You pay attention. You accumulate evidence. And when you finally get to the big boss fight, you finally feel like you've gotten somewhere and you've done something.
Yeah. Another reason why not to use one is you now no longer have that separation between you and your players. You're out there in the open. They can see everything that you've got in front of you. You're not springing anything on them.
I mean,
There are people that don't like that.
okay, so people don't like surprises or having something sprung on them, or like, oh, it's a trap. No, I had this here all the time. Again, that's that air of mystery. This idea that, you know, you don't know what the whole adventure is. You don't know where you're going or what you're doing, and you're just slowly guiding along it as you follow along through many pathways. It could be one pathway, it could be 2 or 3 or 4. You know, I think a DM screen and a whole DM adventure series like that works a lot better in like an open world sort of situation where the DM may have three different paths that the characters may follow. And it could be mysterious in each one whether or not you take one of the 3. As opposed to something that like a canned adventure where it is absolutely linear, that you are going down this road, you are attacking the elephant camp, you are getting the jewel, you are selling the jewel, you are going to the plane. Whether or not you like it or not, if you want to keep playing, that's where you're going. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, keep the air of mystery, keep the separation between the players and the DMs so that you have that experience.
Yeah. You don't have hidden die rolls anymore unless maybe you want to. Now, in the past, I've been a DM who used them, went away from them, and then have gotten back to it. You know, when I printed this out, I went back to it.
Yeah.
Because I just liked that, having that separation between me and the players and what I had, what information I had, and what die rolls I had, and what monsters, what minis I had hidden back here. All that information.
I like it too.
Or if I grabbed a book, you know, they couldn't see what book I actually grabbed. And,
Yeah.
You know, and I'm looking at my information for that.
Yep.
So I kind of like that. Now, in the past, I usually had a laptop, so if I wanted to hide a die roll, I would just roll it behind my laptop screen.
Right.
So I still kept some rolls hidden. But when I was attacking, it was usually right out front of the players. Now, Tom, as a player, you're kind of hearing him saying he likes having the DM wall or the DM screen.
I do.
Between him and the DM.
Yes, I do. Because, as I've said before, it creates an air of mystery, and of anticipation. You don't know what's going to happen. You just proceed on your way down the adventure path, and different stuff happens. Whether or not you fall down a trap, you get attacked by trolls, you find the treasure. It's not all laid out for you. And I'm a traditionalist in the sense that I like the DM to keep their roles, you know, hidden. There's a great deal of trust there, a great deal of trust, because I've run into DMs who laugh about how they killed off all their players last night in a TPK, and they're laughing about it, and they thought it was really funny, but I'm betting their players didn't think it was very funny. So here's the thing. As a DM, you do have a certain amount of responsibility to provide an adventure that your players are going to want to play in. As a player, you have a certain amount of responsibility to keep track of what's happening, you know, in the DM's world, to record the evidence, to follow the path, to keep on the path, you know, so to speak, and to, you know, to engage in that adventure. Okay. Now we've done episodes before about players who don't engage, who don't do anything. I don't have a lot of time for a player who just sits there like a bump on a log. If you really don't want to be there, please don't show up. Okay, I don't know why you might have shown up. Please don't show up. The thing is we're all there to have fun. We're all there to engage in the game. We're all there to put ourselves in that mindset. This helps place us all in that mindset of leader, DM, guide, whatever you want to call it, and players. Okay?
So, Tom's little rant there, you can understand where Tom's coming from, because he gets real frustrated with people that don't show up or don't want to be there really, or don't really engage in the game and control. So anyway, the DM screen or the Dungeon Master screen, are you for them? Are you against them? I, as a player, I can roll either way. I don't have to have them. I don't begrudge a person who uses them. I've used them. I've not used them. I kind of like using them, and I really like this one because this one covers almost the whole screen, and it's angled here, so so Tom can't see everything, and he usually sits right here. So if Tom really wanted to see what I was doing back here, he could probably see it if he really wanted to.
Yeah, but
the dice rolls he wouldn't, but he doesn't.
But I don't peek.
He doesn't peek over. I don't see him doing this.
I never do that.
No.
It's because I believe in the air of mystery.
Yeah. So we would like to hear from you. Do you use a DM screen? Do you have one that you bought from one of the game makers that you play from, either Wizards of the Coast or Paizo, Or did you 3D print one? Did you design one? Did you buy one of these wooden paneled ones? There's some really cool ones.
I was gonna ask you, do you remember the name of that company that made those folding wooden panel ones that had all the engraving on them?
Well, there's the new ones, Misty Mountain Games,
Misty Mountain
which
Games.
just released some that you can change the front of it.
Those were
Buy
really
one.
cool.
Yeah, it was kind of a cool little screen. I think they're wood, and then they have the MDF.
Yeah.
Whether you have Ravens, Hunin and Moonin, or you have Dragon, or the Tree of Life, or,
Yeah.
or what.
Those are pretty cool.
Yeah, Misty Mountain Games. They're pretty cool. That's who made dice boxes for us.
Yeah.
So, would I use one of those? If I was playing at somebody else's house, I'd probably take one with me.
Sure. It's
Because
portable.
this is not a portable thing.
Yeah, this isn't portable.
This is quite...
This is for our game table.
And this, like I said, very modular. It clips together with little clips that are kind of U-shaped on each end. And you design it and build it as you want, whether you have it all straight or you have these little cornered pieces. Or I've got a little spot back here in the back, which is probably about 3-4 inches for big tall minis. It's not really quite big enough. I mean, if you put an ogre back there, it'd probably be okay, or a small giant. The other ones are great for small minis. And then, of course, I've got my dice roller.
Yep.
And that way I've got it. Now mine, I have a custom tray on it because the tray that comes in this kit was too small. And there was one that I could get on Drive-Thru RPG that went to it. Somebody else designed it that was bigger. My big complaint about Dice Towers is most of them don't have a big enough tray.
Yeah.
So
this one has a good size tray, though.
So anyway, you know, an old first edition, upside down, first edition, or the first edition Pathfinder.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that I've got, and I probably would like to get some of the other ones. I think I've got a Starfinder one that's got an initiative tracker on it.
Probably. It's probably
a
here
little
somewhere.
magnetic one.
Yeah.
Which I didn't pull out. I just remembered I had it. So anyway, do you use a DM screen? If so, what do you like about it? What do your players think about it? Ask your players. What do they think about having a DM screen? Are they just so used to it? They think it's just commonality for a Dungeon Master. Because it's been there as long as I've been a Dungeon Master, since '79. That's what we've been using.
Yep.
So anyway, we hope you like this episode of Wizards of the Tower.
Role play.
May all your adventures be epic.
And keep on rolling.
Thanks, folks.